According to the Holy Scriptures, Yahweh Shai, the Son of the Most High, is set to bring immortality to the nation of Israel, the elect, via establishing the tabernacle of David, as we talk about the second coming of who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. He is coming to take down this current world ruled by Esau, Edom, and establish a righteous kingdom, which is synonymous with the throne of David. That's scriptural, which is a government that's going to run this world in righteousness.
After this manner therefore pray ye, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
A transfer of rulership is coming, and the kingdom of heaven will be on earth. Righteousness will be spread throughout the whole four corners of the earth. Wickedness will be put down. Eternal life. That's what's promised to the elect. All right, all Israel, but it starts with the elect. And that's how the earth will be governed by immortals, perfect angelic forces who are going to come down and rule on earth. Extraterrestrial bodies will be able to do things that humans do, but in heavenly bodies, like eating, drinking. Did not Yahweh Shai say he's going to drink wine with us in the kingdom? Well, how do you drink wine with a spiritual body? Well, we're going to have out of this world capabilities in those new bodies.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples for each other brothers, and peace and blessing and salutation to the hopeful elect out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners who have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. All right, and what I want to get into today, it's basically going into the chosen versus the unchosen. The chosen versus the unchosen. All right, and we know, all right, that the Lord, all right, has chosen one people. All right, and that one people is the nation of Israel. Okay, out of all the different people, the nations that's on the earth. Okay, the 18 nations that's on the earth, well, there's only one that's chosen. All right, and that's the nation of Israel, the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And there's a remnant whom the Lord is getting ready to deliver, all right, in these times. The Lord is getting ready to judge the world for his wickedness. He's getting ready to deliver that one chosen people, all right? And this battles, these conflicts that we see around the earth, well, they revolve around the chosen and the unchosen, okay? And then number one rivalry between the chosen and the unchosen is between Jacob and Esau. Everything boils down, all right, to Jacob and Esau. Okay, let's go here. In fact, before we go there, let's get this. All right, this is the book of Sirach 33 and 10. It said, all men are from the ground, and Adam was created of the earth. Okay, so all men or the ground and all men that are on the earth come through the lineage of Adam. Okay, but through this lineage there's a chosen. Okay, there's a chosen lineage. All right, from the lineage of Adam, and all nations come from Adam. Okay, because Noah was a descendant of Adam, a direct descendant from Adam. All right, and out of Noah, as he survived the flood with his three sons and their wives. All right, uh, Shem, all right, Ham, Japheth. Of those three men came all the nations of the earth that exist today. Okay, and of those three men through Shem, all right, you have the chosen. You see, and at the end of the day, the Lord is always going to choose His people, which we'll get. It said, "In much knowledge, the Lord have divided them and made their ways diverse." Okay, so nations are different. Okay, and He made Jacob superior. You see, regardless of Esau's scientific racism, which says that we are inferior people, incapable people. No, that's the exact opposite. The Lord made us the most capable people. All right, beginning with the men and the women of Israel, the Lord made us the most capable people, man. I can never say it enough. A lot of these inventions that make life easier and convenient come from Jake, all right, and the woman, all right, and the Jake woman. Okay, so this the Lord created Jake, okay, different and above, okay. The devil through his enchantments and social engineering, has made our people, degenerate. They go in being degenerate, okay. But Jake, okay, in their natural environment, a natural situation, man, Jake is a superior people. We're diverse from all these nations, man. There's no one that's close to our power, all right, like us, man. In tune with our power like us, man. Okay, in tune with the earth like us, man. You see, it says some of them have he blessed and exalted, and some of them have he sanctified. Yeah, and that's Israel, man. You know, we're sanctified people. Now we fail. We've been demoted for disobedience, man. But it was meant for us to be exalted. That's why at the end of this thing, the Lord's going to exalt His people with His Son Yahweh, man. Okay, it says and set near Himself. Yeah, we are people that's near. All right, it's on Israelites are the only people that can be near their power. Okay, we're the only people that can be near Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. Okay, we're the only people that's familiar with Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. Okay, it said, but some of them have he cursed and brought low and turned out of their places. Okay, and this is speaking of Esau, man. Okay, because even though Esau, he's in his blessing and he's been able to prosper in his wickedness, ultimately Esau's cursed, man. He's the only nation, all right, because we're under the curses, but this is a temporal situation before we get delivered. Okay, before we become immortal, before we become, all right, righteous leaders with Yahweh Shai. Yeah, we're under the curses. Okay, and for the elect, the curses are beginning to fall off, man, and they're gonna completely fall off when we change. Okay, but that's a temporary situation for our disobedience. Esau, he's cursed because it's the only nation that the Lord is going to completely get rid of, man. Okay, so Esau has a curse bigger than anyone. You see, we in these certain predicaments for now. Deuteronomy 28:15 through 68. We're under, those harsh conditions now as a people. But this nigga is destined to be eradicated from the earth, man. There's no one that's cursed above Esau, man. Okay, and brought low, and there's no one that's going to be brought low like Esau, man. Okay, Esau's getting ready to be brought low and turned out of their places. You see, their rulership, man, and their place in of authority that they have in the earth, man. There's no throne for thee, man. Come sit in the dust, man. Okay, so Esau's going to be turned out of his place, man, and right now he's in a place of power. Okay, well, that's going to be changed. It said, as the clay is in the potter's hand to fashion it at his pleasure, so man is in the hand of him that made him to to render to them as liking him best. Okay? So he created Esau to be a particular way. He created Jake to be a particular way, man. The Most High fashioned the nations. Okay? He created Jacob to be the righteous and Esau to be the wicked. You see? And these nations, they're just caught in the middle, you know? Because it's all built, everything is built on Jacob and Esau, which we're going to get into. Everything is built on the two nations, all right, that came from the womb of Rebecca, okay? And these nations are just caught in the middle. And right now, the wicked, because it's like you have a scale, wicked. My Esau, he's the wicked. He's the most wicked that you can be on this scale, and Jacob is the most righteous you can be. And these nations are called in the middle. So as the wicked are in authority, these nations are under the influence of the authority. Okay, these nations are under the influence of the wicked. I mean, you see, because the wicked is in authority. Okay, and these nations are gonna be punished for following this man and his wickedness, man. You see, but as we, all right, are put in power, when the Lord comes and takes Esau out of their place, okay, the nations are going to fall out the righteousness, man. And Esau is going to be done away with, man. Okay, their level of wickedness would not be needed anymore, man. Okay, Esau's wicked nature will not be needed on the earth anymore, man. The earth is going to be on a righteous vibration forever, man. Okay, but the Lord, He fashioned, all right, Jacob and Esau to be completely opposite, man. And He chose Jacob and He rejected Esau, man. All right, and the world is finna see how He chose Jacob and rejects Esau. The world is finna see that. You see, in the kingdom, we're not gonna have to explain this concept anymore. Okay, the Lord finna show it through mercy and wrath. Verse 14 said, "Good is set against evil." You see, two opposite, man, two manner of people. Okay, the angel told Rebecca what two manner of people are in your womb. Good and evil was in the womb of Rebecca, man. Okay, it says in life against death. Yeah, this is life against death, man. Esau he's death. Death is ruling the earth. Okay, when Yahweh shot, okay, and the elect come into power, life is going to rule the earth, man. Right now, death is ruling the earth, man. That's why this man turned everything that you do into death. Okay, everything that you do, this man has turned to death. Everything that the Lord intended for life, this man has turned to death, man. Okay, when you deal with a woman, it's supposed to be for the sake of bringing new life. He turned that to a possibility you could die. Okay, you eat food to nourish your body. He turned that into a situation where you can die. Okay, constant wars, over nothing, over his ego and vanity and pride. Okay, all this weaponry that's in the earth. Okay, in America, there's more guns than people, man. That's death, man. Okay, so what we're seeing is a battle between life and death, man. And life is going to win. It says, "So is the godly against the sinner, and the sinner against the godly." Okay, so look upon all the works of the Most High, and there are two and two, one against another, man. Okay, and when you go here, let's go here. Let's get this in the blue letter. Okay, you go to Hebrews 11. All right. Hebrews 11 and 20. Get to the point. This is Hebrews 11 and 20. It said it was by faith that Isaac promised blessings for the futures to his sons. Okay, Jacob. Oh, so lucky. Read again. Hebrews 11 and 20 said it was by faith that Isaac promised blessings for the future to his sons, Jacob and Esau. Okay, and right now we're in these future blessings because Esau, he was promised the fatness of the earth by the sword. Okay, and the Lord set this nigga up for failure because he, all right, was uh, blessed to what? Live by the sword. He was given the blessing of the sword, but it was a trap because what did Yahweh say? All right, if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And that's why the devil was finna lose this third world war. Okay, all these nations finna lose this war. Okay, but it's gonna begin with Esau taking this L in this war, man. Okay, because the pride of Esau is America, man. Okay, so the elite champion is getting ready to lose this war, man. Okay, the nation that dominated the earth by the sword, well, it's finna be defeated by the sword. Okay, but Esau was in his blessing. He's fully in his blessing that was given to him by Isaac, the fatness of the earth. Okay, and living by that sword. Okay, and then you have what? The future blessing of Jacob, which held the heel of Esau, which means at the end of this man's rulership, our blessing will be birthed into the earth. Okay, that's why Jacob was birthed second. His rulership, the everlasting rulership of Jacob, will come after, man. You see, and this is what Esau is trying to fight against, man. You know, Esau, he wants to make himself the chosen, all right, through war and witchcraft and technology, man. He's going to lose. You just not chosen, man. Okay? You goddamn devil, you just not the chosen, man. You see? And let's go to that real quick. That's what it all boils down to. Nigga, you are not chosen. You other nation, you're not chosen, man. You know, and being chosen comes with a responsibility, man. It's not a thing of, being boastful. No, it's a thing of, we're chosen to rule the earth in righteousness, man. And that's why we fail because we fumbled in rulership, man. We fumble that responsibility. Okay, but this captivity is making us cherish righteousness, man. Okay, let's go here real quick. This is this is let's go here. Um, go second Esdras. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get in the GNT. Maybe. Let me see. Second Esdras 3 and 15. I'll read in here. Uh, yeah, so let's get this second Esdras 3. All right, this is the book of second Esdras 3 and 16. It says, unto him thou gavest Isaac. All right. Speaking to Abraham. And Isaac also thou gavest Jacob. So the promise was given to Abraham. Okay, then it was passed to Isaac. Okay, Isaac inherited that promise that was given to Abraham. And unto Isaac also thou gavest Jacob and Esau. Okay, you see? And as for Jacob, thou didst choose him to thee and put by Esau. And so Jacob became a great multitude. Okay, Jacob became a great multitude. So thou didst choose Jacob and put by Esau. Esau was rejected, man. Okay? Jacob was chosen. So no matter what Esau do, he'll never be the chosen, man. Okay? He's not gonna force the Most High to make him the chosen, man. Okay? It don't work like that. Okay, the Lord chose who he chose, man. And it's finna play out on the global stage. The world is finna see Jacob has he chosen, Esau has he hated, man. Okay, and Jacob is gonna become a great multitude, a great ruling people, man, a great dynasty of ruler, a great dynasty of rulers, man, forever, man. You ain't gonna have to argue about, well, who are the chosen? Is no, they gonna know. Right now, it's all this speculation. You got, the small heads being called out. The one thing for sure, people look, these can't be the chosen people, man. Just by their conduct, man, the way these niggas wilding out. The small hats claiming to be us. Nah, man. There ain't gonna be no debate. You gonna need no podcast. Okay, you don't need no panel. Try to figure it out. I ain't have to do archaeology and nah, man. It's gonna be known who's the Lord chosen. Okay, in the times to come. Okay, so you go here, because even when you go here, let's get this real quick. What's that in Wisdom of Solomon 5? All right, this is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 1. It said, "Then shall a righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him." And that's Israel, man. And who afflicted us? Esau. Okay, because we in that time with transitional power. So the Lord has raised up, his people. Okay, the Lord has raised up, all right, his men. Okay, to teach His word. To the rest of the elect men, women, and children that's going to be delivered. Okay, from this destruction. And this destruction is built for Esau, man, to destroy his kingdom. Okay, and these heathens going there in the midst of the judgment for being with this nigga, and 2/3 of our people are in the midst of the judgment for, all right, not returning to their power. Okay, because as an Israelite, if you don't return to your power, well, you're considered, all right, an enemy. You're gonna get caught up in the judgment. Okay, it says, "And made no accounts of his labors. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation." Okay, those chariots, and then the people that's being delivered, it's gonna be strange to these people, man. So far beyond all that they look for, man. These devils, these people are not looking to see us delivered in chariots, man. To see us change in the twinkling of an eye, man. You know, to see the people that's despised, okay, looked at as inferior, okay, to be delivered in such glory, man. It's going to be strange to them, man. Verse 3 says, "And they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit, they're going to be hurt, shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision, and a proverb and a reproach, man, they didn't consider." No one considers it could be us, man. Esau, these small heads, like these niggas have just set up shop, okay? They fulfill none of the prophecies, man, but they get to walk around the earth, as the chosen people, okay? Without that much kickback. It's been, as of late, the devil's been called out, man. But for the longest, man, these small heads were able to just run with their claim, okay? Verse 4 says, "We fools accounted his life madness and his end to be without honor," man. Okay? Because Esau has, put so much, propaganda and put such a bad stigma on our people because he makes sure that the worst of our people are overrepresented. Okay? He makes sure that he gets the worst of our people and makes them the logo for the nation, man. To where when they look at, Jake, they automatically think degeneracy, man. Okay, or people without honor. In verse 5, it says, "How is he numbered among the children of the Most High? And his lot is among the saints." You see, how is he numbered among the children of the Most High? Okay, and his lot among the saints. You see, this is going to be an astonishment to these people, man. The Lord gonna choose us in front of all these nations, man. Just like He punished us in the sight of these nations, well, He gonna choose us in the midst of these nations, man. You see, and they gonna see that they not chosen, man. Okay, the Lord gonna show who's is chosen, and everybody gonna see who's not chosen. All this Christianity, God loves everybody, and I gave my life to Jesus, man. None of that shit gonna hold weight, man. It's gonna be about His chosen, man, and of His chosen, there's a remnant that's gonna be delivered. There's gonna be changed right before you, heathens, man. Okay, verse 6, therefore have we erred from the way of truth, and the light of righteousness have not shined upon us, man. The truth is going to be shown in that day, man. The true people, okay, of the Lord, all right, it's going to be known in that day. There's going to be no doubt about it. It says, unto us and the Son of righteousness rose not upon us, man. Yeah, because it wasn't meant for the heathens to understand. The Lord wanted to show them, okay? He wanted these heathens, all right, to not consider His true people. All right, he wanted these heathens not to even recognize His people, man. Okay, so He can show them with power. He gonna show who His people is in power, man. All right, this second Exodus, man. Okay, so let's go from there. Let's get this. All right, because it all boils down to whom the Lord is gonna choose. Okay, so after all these heathens get through putting in all these cameras, Esau, especially Moab. Okay, they get through putting all these cameras every goddamn where, police robots, and all these data centers. They gonna eventually start putting C hips in people. Okay, when they get through done with all this shit, man, all this weaponry and high tech, missiles, and yeah, when they get through with all that, man, okay, it still comes down to who the chosen, man. You see, that's what it's gonna boil down to. That's who's going to come out on top is the chosen, man. Okay, Isaiah 14:1 said, but the Lord will have mercy on the descendants of Jacob. He will choose Israel as His special people once again. Okay, He will choose Israel as His special people once again. You see, He will bring them back to settle once again in their own land. So it's the same people of old. Okay, and it says He will do this, man. Not no Balfour Declaration, not the first Aaliyah, second Aaliyah, and we wouldn't migrate back to their land. No, we will come back to their land in great glory. We will be immortals. If those are the people, they're supposed to be immortals. And this war is showing you that them niggas not immortal, man. You see, them niggas living in bomb shelters, man. Wait a minute, supposed to be immortal. You're not supposed to be a war. Okay, you're supposed to be the earth is supposed to be fully submitted to you in peace. Nations are not supposed to learn war anymore. Okay, but the chosen are not in that land. You see, okay. It says in people. Now this is NLT, and people from many different nations. These are Israelites will come and join them. All right, there and unite with the people of Israel. These are Israelites being joined back to Israel, man. Okay, so the Lord is getting ready to choose His people again, the same people. All right, let's read in KJV. You know, it said, for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel. Okay, that's what it's all about, man. The Lord choosing His people again, the same people being chosen again. And there's nothing that can be done to undo that. Okay, that's why Esau, his new world order, okay, is vanity, man. That's why the scriptures say the Lord shall laugh in the heavens at Esau, man. Okay, it says, and set them in their own land, and the strangers, Israelite foreigners, shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob, man. Okay, as John the Revelator, he's seen what? People from all different kindreds, nations, and tongues, okay, being delivered. Okay, because those are Israelites who look like other nations, man. They're scattered throughout the world, who look like other nations, speak the language of these other nations. Okay, but through their lineage, all right, they're Israelites, man. Through lineage of their father. It says, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place. Okay, and this is the heathens. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, man. And that's Esau and the rest of these heathens, man. The elders shall serve the younger. That's gonna play out. No matter what this nigga Esau is doing, man. Okay, that's why everything that the elites are doing, they're doing for nothing. Absolutely nothing. We know how it ends, man. They're doing all this for nothing. We know how the game ends. The game is fixed, it's rigged for Israel. You know, Esau is used to fixing and rigging everything in his kingdom for him. Well, the Most High got this thing rigged for his people. Okay, it says, and they shall take them captives, who captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors, man. Okay, the chosen is going to rule over their captives, man. Beginning with Esau and all these other heathens, man. Okay, we're going to rule over their oppressors. All right, we're going to rule over our oppressors, man. Okay, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from thy hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve, man. That second Exodus, man. He brought us from under the bondage of ancient Egypt, and he's going to bring us out of the bondage of, all right, this new Egypt, America, man. Okay, so this is what we get according to prophecy, man. You see, is this what it comes down to, man? The chosen versus, all right, the unchosen, man. And the unchosen, they're going to lose because they're not chosen, man. The Lord is choosing his people once again. It begins with raising up the prophets, man. You know, that's the beginning of the Lord choosing us. Okay, by giving us his Rakakwadash, his Holy Spirit to understand. You know, that's the Lord beginning to choose us again. Okay, and it's going to fully manifest into a deliverance and us being changed. And then coming down and rule the earth forever in righteousness, man. Okay, that's gonna end the debate. So Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edify once again. We'll give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem Kakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to our young brothers, and peace and blessings, salutations to the whole elect Shalom.